If you've ever seen the movie Alien, or the movie Event Horizon, or even played the video game Dead Space, you might really dig this movie, but it's not as good as those. Ash stars Eiza González and Aaron Paul, and is about a woman who wakes up on a distant planet and finds the crew of her space station killed. From writer and director Flying Lotus, yes, the musician Flying Lotus, we are talking his brand new film, Ash. So this movie is a movie I never saw a trailer for, honestly. I really didn't know, what it was about. I knew Aaron Paul was in it. I saw, the weird colored poster, and there was an early access screening. So I was like, all right, I'll go to it. It was on Monday night, so sorry for the late review, but, it's early, but it's late because I saw it 2 days ago. But, I'm graduating in a month and a half. Give me a break. Anyway, so with this movie, I had no idea what I was going into, but I'll say this. I think Flying Lotus, and this is the first time I've seen one of his movies. I have not seen his segment VHS, whatever. But for this first time viewing, I think this man has a really crazy style that can really work for many people, and I really appreciate watching the making of this movie. You can tell this movie did not have the biggest budget, but I can tell you that he, as a director, took this story, took what he could do to make this movie, and he made it work. And I really appreciate that, honestly, because the cinematography, the direction, the style is just, it's so out there, and how he uses color and the surroundings and the sound. It really is good stuff. And honestly, like I said, it is a movie that you've seen this story kind of before. In a crux, horror movie, space station, Alien, Event Horizon. I mean, so many space horror movies. But I will say the biggest comparison when I was watching this movie is because of the technology is Dead Space. It's a video game. I've played the first two. I barely played the third one. But it's a video game series where, I would love to see a live action movie or something from that story arc. But this movie felt like it was a complete copycat of other movies. It's just the style of this movie makes it stand out a little bit. So, of course, my biggest positive besides Flying Lotus is Eiza González. She is very good in this movie. I think her character is very interesting. The movie starts off with her and how this movie goes through the story. You always stick with her, and what is going on can lead to, obviously, the bloody ending. You also have Aaron Paul in this movie. He's a fantastic actor. Obviously, Jesse Pinkman. We all know he's a great actor. He's very good in this movie, and everyone else in this movie, when you get to see them, is very good. And the whole movie, you're learning information with our characters, and by the end of it, that is when you get to all of our gore. It's some crazy gore, and honestly, as a horror fan, it was pretty awesome, I have to admit. The gore of what this movie is showing, I was like, that is pretty damn good. And I'll say this is kind of a mixed aspect. The CGI is not bad, but it's really noticeable, and it's probably due to the low budget, but hey, you work with what we can work with. I think more the coloring and the shot making of how they block certain scenes, the CGI works for it, but when you're watching the movie, you're like, that is CGI. That is clearly CGI, and it's not amazing CGI. So it's one of those things where it can be distracting, but honestly, through most of the story and the characters, it didn't bother me that much. Moving on to the negatives, like I said, this movie does have a lot going on for what our main character is going through, and I found the movie to be very predictable. And I think it's very easy to kind of figure out what's going on right away, and it's also very easy to figure out who in this space station is a good person and a person you're like, hey, you're a little questionable. And so it's very easy to figure out what's going on in this movie. And like I said, this movie is such a, I don't want to say a copy and paste of Alien and Event Horizon and other space horror movies, but the movie you're watching, you've seen before. I'm sorry. It's just, you've seen it before, but what makes it stand out is his direction, is the coloring, is the style, is these performers, and I'll give it credit enough. It sticks out to be watched maybe once, but it's not a movie that I dearly loved. I didn't love everything that the story was going through and how it concluded. Yes, I liked aspects of how the movie's made and what you get to see, but how the actual story ends, I found it to be a little anticlimactic. And so In the end, for a 95-minute movie with something that just feels very different in the style making, again, the story you've seen, but overall, it's watchable. It's not a movie I'm telling you gotta see, but horror fans are gonna appreciate it more than most. I'm gonna give Ash a B-. I believe it's coming out this Friday on the 21st. If you get a chance to go see it in theaters, you can definitely give it a recommend, honestly. If you want to wait till like streaming, I kind of get it, honestly. This is one of those movies where like I can see people not really liking it, or I can see people just really appreciate like the style of what Flying Lotus did. But I'll tell you this, I'm definitely intrigued to see what he does next in his career with filmmaking. It makes me want to watch the VHS movie and see his segment. So anyway, guys enjoy this movie review. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.